Okay, apologies, guys. I hope that you can hear me on YouTube now. Can someone just tell me in the YouTube chat if you can hear me now? Yeah? Are we all good, Jourdain? Wonderful, wonderful, fantastic stuff. My apologies for that one, guys. I had one of the settings wrong. Happens sometimes. Okay, so we have a few things to discuss today. However, we don't appear to have got any requests to speak. If you want to have a good show, guys, we are going to need a couple of you guys to come up and say hi. Unless you want me to monologue the whole time, that's absolutely fine too. But it generally makes for a better show when you've got a couple of people to speak to. Like I say, we've invited a bunch of people across a bunch of groups today to come and have a little chat. So if anyone in the speaker panel would like to come up and have a word, if anyone in the listener panel would like to come up and speak, I would love to have a chat and have a good conversation here. So get those requests in. We will just start off the show with a little bit of a disclaimer while we're waiting. So before we start, very important to remember, myself, any members of the team on the panel that come up on the panel, we are your guides to navigating the cipher state. We are not your financial advisors in any way, shape or form. Our guests' opinions are very much their own, so nothing said on this space constitutes financial or investment advice. Never ask for it, we're not going to give it. Once again, just drop down to the bottom right-hand side of your screen. If you have a moment, give us a like and a retweet on the space. And we'll go through a couple of little news items while we hopefully get some people up to have this conversation on AI. I'm very surprised we don't have any speaker requests already. It's going to be a very, very good topic of conversation. So let's go over here. So one of the first things we've got up today, very recently, we got a few congratulations, I suppose, are in order. So a solo Bitcoin miner has actually earned $181,000 for a block reward. So that's really, really rare for anyone who's not aware. Generally speaking, it's almost always one of the big miners who gets all the blocks. I think between them, almost like 50 odd percent, more than 50% is owned just by like Foundry USA, Amp Pool, that lot. So it's absolutely amazing to get someone who's a solo miner actually earn a block. Absolutely fantastic stuff. So well done to that miner. And it actually seems to be getting a bit more common for solo miners to get these rewards. Due to the fact that we've actually got some like more advanced, smaller ASICs and cheaper ASICs available now. So if you're interested in mining, it might be a good time. It might be a good time to try and give it a go. Remember, it's almost it's one of those things where you invest in the hardware. Sometimes you won't even recoup the cost of the hardware. But like I say, if these ASICs are doing a good job, then it could be worthwhile. You never know. Welcome to the speaker panel, April. What's up?
Oh, hey. Hello, everybody. I'm doing great, and I'm really excited for this space. It's a really cool topic, very provocative, I think. Also, it reminds me a bit of The Matrix, and there is this scene with Neo, and he's plugging in the knowledge, and he just knows everything instantly. So that would be cool, wouldn't it? But I don't think we're there yet.
We're definitely not there yet. I mean, if ChatGPT was plugged into your brain, you'd be getting an awful lot of bad info, probably.
Yeah, that's why I think knowledge, I don't think it's cheap at all. So I'm just gonna get it out in the open. I think it's been valuable since the beginning of humans.
I think it really has. Yeah. Like I'm right there with you, April. I think it genuinely is still at this moment incredibly valuable. We'll get more into the conversation on that conversation soon. But I think there's definitely stuff to be discussed there for sure. Welcome to the panel, April. Really appreciate you coming up. If anyone else would like to come up to the speaker panel and have their opinions heard, this is a very, very friendly space. We are about as inclusive as it gets. If you find it difficult to speak, if English is not your first language, any number of hiccups or roadblocks on your road to becoming a speaker in public. Don't worry, we are as friendly as they come, and we're just here to listen to you and hear your value. So if you'd like to speak on this subject, then you are more than welcome to request to speak. Please do. Okay, there's another couple of things that we just want to get out of the way because there are some cool news items in the works right now. So actually, just in the last couple of hours, there's been like a UK draft law that could classify Bitcoin and digital assets as personal property. They've actually added like a new type to the registry of personal property, just called things, just for like digital assets, things like that. And this could actually really help. Like, I am all for any kind of regulatory clarity. I really believe that is the way forward in order for us to have like a seamless experience between the Web 2 and Web 3 worlds. I genuinely think that good regulation is a massive positive in this space, as long as we can maintain our rights and freedoms at the same time. That is the key. We've got a UK government official saying this legislation will mean that the sector can maintain its position as a global leader in crypto assets and bring clarity to complex property cases. I'm genuinely all for that. You have to look at the fine print of these things, but like I say, generally all for that. And we've got Goldman Sachs. Goldman Sachs in the US, the Goldman Sachs CEO says he's seeing progress on inflation and expects a soft landing in that regard. For anyone who's not aware, a soft landing regarding inflation generally means that we are not going to have a ginormous recession. We're not going to have anything but kind of middle of the road. Everything kind of stays okay. And we hopefully end up back in a position where we're between 2 and 3% inflation, as per the goals of the US government. Personally, I'm not entirely sure. I don't see that happening. I still think my butter costs 3 times more than it did 2 years ago, Mr. Sachs. So if you can deal with that, that'd be great. But other than that, like it's good to see some confidence, I suppose. April, do you see the effects of inflation where you are, right? Like I'm not alone here. I definitely, like, people will keep on saying, like, all the governments of the world keep on saying that like inflation is coming under control, it's okay, but all my food costs massive amounts.
Yeah, exactly. I was thinking the same. I don't know if these numbers are just imaginatory or what, but I don't feel it either. Not yet. Maybe it's slowly getting into our lives back, because I believe these effects take long in the markets, right? So I don't know. Not yet, no. So
Yeah, I got you. Nah, it's it all seems like it's maybe we'll get the trickle down effects once all the uppers have got theirs. Okay, everyone. So on with the main topic, everyone. If I could just bring your attention once again, give us a like and a retweet on the space, that would be absolutely amazing. Shishu in the chat, kamehameha to you too. Really appreciate you. And we will be speaking we're telling you the attendance code for this space for the quests and everything. We'll be doing that kind of midway through and at the end, just so you are aware. Anyone who wishes to come up and speak on the AI topics, you better request now. We're going to be starting to speak about those right now. So yeah, let's get this going. There's a lot of things going on here, April. And in fact, April, you are the one who suggested this topic to us. So I'm really thankful for that to start with. And maybe you'd actually like to give a little bit of context, because I haven't watched the full like Raoul Pal video that you linked. But I've like watched the snippets that are kind of, I think, that are important. But if you want to give maybe the context behind it, and then we can ask the questions, that'd be kind of awesome.
yeah, sure. I think his video, maybe we can post it below if somebody's interested. But he's saying that basically knowledge is more and more ubiquitous. It's everywhere and it's spreading. And the more it is, the more it's available, the less valuable it is. Like, he's comparing it even with air, which at one point it might sound kind of like it makes sense, but then if you dive deeper, I don't think it does really, because you cannot compare knowledge with air, right? It's not like also, I think implicitly he's like comparing it to some kind of token or something, you know, like since there is more of it, then it's less valuable. But we all know that knowledge has different qualities. Then it's not the same. All knowledge is not the same. Also, since the beginning of printing press, you know, since Gutenberg, it's expanding, but I don't see it losing its value. So that's basically
Completely
my
fair.
take on it. So yes.
Yeah, no, that's completely fair, April. There's a couple of things that I just wanted to think about, like with this subject in particular. So, if knowledge is like what Raul has said, that knowledge will become as ubiquitous as air, is true. It becomes devalued to the point where there's no real need for human for human knowledge endeavors. Like maybe there's need for other human endeavors, things like opinionated matters, things like that. But I'm just wondering, like, does a person's knowledge still matter in situations like making hiring decisions, or even like making new friends? Because like we've actually seen this in like I would say I've seen this, at least personal anecdote. I mean, I've seen that like in my personal hiring decisions, and in like one of the companies that I run, I think it really doesn't make any difference to me what level of knowledge a person has anymore. It seems like everyone kind of like, I get hundreds of CVs that are just done by AI. You get like, that everyone can kind of access any information that they want. So the hiring decisions lately are kind of just based on potential. Like it's all just like a personal vibe and opinion and potential. So I don't know what you kind of think about that, perhaps, April.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think the human potential is actually the determining factor in the value of knowledge, because it unlocks this human potential. And with AI, that bar is being raised much higher. Yeah, so the things that we used to think they're valuable are now more accessible, and therefore, let's say, less valuable or more common, right? So I think probably we'll have to raise the bar and learn more. That's why I think learning, as opposed to this basic knowledge, is maybe even more valuable. You know? So
I think learning is the most important skill you can possibly learn right now. That's for everyone in the space, everyone in the listener panel. Teaching yourself how to learn, it could be the most valuable life decision you ever make. Like I think, like I say, with the hiring decisions I make, sometimes you end up in a position where I'm looking at one person who has degrees, who's never had a job before, and I'm looking at a person who has no degrees, but who I get the feeling from that they have a learning mindset, and that they're hungry, and sometimes that's more valuable. Like I feel really bad for in some cases where people have gone to massive amounts of effort and toil to get these qualifications, these credentials, and they sometimes don't match up to the actual experience of doing something. That's one of the reasons why with the upcoming Cypher University, the way that we've built that is that you actually have to do stuff. Like you actually have to have provable proof of work to get it done. So yeah, welcome to the stage, Chris B. Appreciate you coming up, man. How are you doing?
Hey everyone. Yeah, I'm good. Great to be here. And I think, yeah, it's an interesting topic for sure.
What do you think about like the generalities of it so far, Chris? Like, so you kind of got the gist of what Raoul Pal said and April's opinion on the matter. Do you think knowledge can actually get so ubiquitous that it becomes essentially valueless, or do you think it kind of has to hold a certain value, like a minimal value?
Well, I had two thoughts. The first one is that we think about knowledge. I mean, of course, we humans, we want to know more and we want to learn more. But on the other hand, everyone is like on the journey of transformation. So, and what we see nowadays with this new economy where knowledge is available for almost everyone, so knowledge isn't that valuable anymore. So like the journey or the transformation, it's much more important for, I think, every single person, right? So yeah, I can see that knowledge itself probably is less valuable in future because it's available everywhere. And on the other hand, maybe the human interaction becomes more important because of that, because knowledge is not like the thing where we value ourselves or whatever anymore. So maybe we humans, especially with AI and with all these bots and whatever will be available in future, maybe we ourselves will be more important how we interact with each other or how we behave. And then also we are back at the reputation system. So are you a good person or are you a bad person? Whatever you do in the world, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Like action speaks louder than 1,000 words. It really, really does. And I think that's only going to become more a prevalent thought in how you like judge people. Because one of the other things that I've been looking at while I've just been researching this topic is like just a question, really. I mean, are we living in a post-fact world? Like, I feel like we are getting thrown disinformation, misinformation from every single direction as just consumers on the internet, trying to actually find sources of truth that you can actually trust, not to be like completely biased one way or another. It's a challenge bordering on an impossibility. So I'm just kind of wondering, like, if we are living in a post-fact world, and like all knowledge is freely available, but most of it like its trust is dubious. Like, how do we form the trust networks required for society to function? Do you think, like, do you think we can still maintain the kind of society that we have in that kind of world?
Yeah, this is a really good point because in the beginning, when we had books, the knowledge was disseminated by books. So the main point was to organize those books so the knowledge was findable. But now that the vastness of all the information is so huge, it's become more crucial that all this information are selected, as you said, so that the actual information is relevant. So I don't know. This is where I think AI cannot yet or ever, I don't know, replace a human, because this kind of confirmation of the relevance and the how do you say it? If something is facts or not, or fake news or um, total garbage, I don't think the AI can answer, because we actually don't know what's going on inside the AI when it's processing data and giving us outputs. So we just have to take their answer, and it's hard to verify how they came to that conclusion. So.
Yeah, I agree with that because, like, when we look at the AI systems we have now, are they neutral? I don't think so. So because there was someone or maybe a group of people, whatever, they had a certain motivation to build that AI system. So the question will be, how can we trust? Because just because knowledge is available, how do we know which knowledge is kind of good knowledge and which one is like fake news? So that will be a challenge for sure in future, also to find out how we can value this knowledge we get. Is it really true what we get? And all those things, right? So AI systems right now for sure are biased. They are not neutral, and also are probably, because of how we use them, are just biased already because of that.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, trying to actually find, like I say, the source of truth. It all goes back to the source of truth. Now, are you going to trust? Are you going to trust your government, for example? Are you going to trust your local government or your regional government or your central government? Any of it, or are you going to trust like the people who like these? You've got to create trust circles. If you don't trust the overarching the people who actually control the system that you live under, then the only other real option is to create, I guess, circles of trust that you can actually believe the information of. So, for example, like influencers. Like I feel like there's a good reason why the influencer economy has absolutely exploded in the last maybe I don't know, I would call it 15 years probably for the main of the influencer economy. It's just people looking for someone who they relate with and who they trust, and more people are looking for outside of the standard circles for trust. As we get more and more digital with our lives, as we get more and more information thrown at us that we just don't know if it's 100% sure or not. And even when the people who we traditionally have trusted become untrustworthy themselves. In the case of, for example, governments, I'm not saying F the government or any of that stuff. I'm not that type of person in general, but I will say that like trust in governments has evaporated. It's just absolutely evaporated over the past decade and a half. It really has. So there's reasons for that. And we need to find ways of verifying our information. Something I was actually thinking about for some time with Galactica is creating a verification DAOs of real people who are who not just people who you think you can trust, but people who who have a reputation in trust, who have a reputation to uphold, and must uphold that reputation in order to continue their business. It's their business to be trustworthy. So you create a verification DAO of that kind of person, and then incentivize them to prove the veracity of the information that we receive, and then maybe we've got something that might be useful there. But there's an awful lot of things to do. But like they say, that was just a thought I had a while ago, and it might be something useful. We got something from Shishu over on YouTube. So we got our apprentices use ChatGPT all the time. Yep, I would agree there. I think pretty much everyone is at the moment. For every step, nothing against AI, but first there has to be a basis of knowledge. A good comparison is GPS. Who can still read a normal map today? Think about it. Very good point, Shishu. Very good points. Like if we end up in a situation where, say, I don't know, 75% of the global population is relying completely on AIs to direct them, to tell them what to do, to basically direct them in their lives, then those people essentially become not much better than the computers, than the systems that they're using, which is not a great situation to be in as a human. We've got a couple of awesome. So thank you very much for that input, Shishu. That's awesome. I actually really, really like that comment. Thank you. We've got a couple of people up on the speaker panel. Welcome, Screw Loose. How you doing, Screw Loose? What's up?
Thank you very much. Doing very well, and it's so interesting to see people's not even so much differing opinions, because there seems to be almost a synergy, but just a word for thought is taken in the context. Is knowledge so cheap, and why learn anything? In the context of things that I see is it's the ability to retain the knowledge and the ability to be able to implement the knowledge in whatever context that they want to use it for. But it's retention which is key. And this is where I find AI has the potentiality of being so invaluable. And it's not necessarily the aspect that why learn anything. I think the inane human brain just always wants to learn. It seeks out that knowledge, but its ability to retain is particularly poor. When you become skilled in one certain genre, that's absolutely fine. But let's take into concept, if I have a question that's outside my scope, then the ability for me to be able to access Google would bring forward a generalized answer. But then obviously we get into the scope of being able to police as such, or at least be able to filter what information is either misleading, truthful, etc. And that's a very difficult thing to do. But then we're also talking about AI as a singular. But what will be interesting is when AI becomes interoperable and we start seeing the interactions, and it could be quite scary. But the interest for me would be to see how AI moves forward and starts becoming interoperable, and how they would interact. And then they themselves potentially would be starting to use that and filter out the negativity and the false information.
That's interesting. That's an interesting take, Screwless. So like AI is essentially policing and moderating AIs.
In the context, if we were to suggest out of 100 AI models that are interoperable, and we were to put an element of an article based on 100% truth, how would they react? And if the vast majority do agree, are we going to suggest it's truthful? But then if we put something in that we all know to be false, the sun is made of ice, and we start the debate going, how would AI interact?
Yeah, I mean, this is the problem with source of truth for AI, for sure. It's just, an AI is coded by humans. It's got a set of parameters on which it learns. No matter how advanced or how complex those learning algorithms get, they're always going to be biased somewhere along the line, and they can be influenced. They can be manipulated. So it's a tricky thing. This is one of the reasons why I think we need like on-chain systems for this, so that you can't just have non-reputable people or non-reputable artificial identities, for example, running around spewing misinformation and disinformation without any kind of reputation hit. You should be able to firstly identify humans and AIs separately, and you should be able to make sure that that those AIs and humans can be rated by yourself on whichever way you want to rate them. So not rated by some other institution or some other person, like a government or anything like that. You should be able to choose you should be able to choose how you rate these AIs and these people on chain. So it doesn't become just someone else telling you how to think. It's you deciding what you think of others and using your own criteria for that. Hopefully that can create a more trusting society in which people just have there's accountability for people, but also that people can be rated based on their good criteria, and make sure that people retain their agency in deciding who they like and who they don't. Tika, sorry, I realized we have you up on stage. Welcome to the stage, Tika. What's up? You are currently on mute if you are trying to speak.
Oh, sorry. Hello.
It's okay.
Yeah, I was just laughing at the map thing. I'm quite old now, so I can remember pulling an AA out in front of the car, and it was completely covering the whole of the car.
Sorry, I have no doubt that was awesome, but like I really can't hear you that well, Tika. Can you improve your mic any?
Can you hear me better now?
Yes, much better. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, I was just actually sitting here and laughing at the AA map because I'm quite old now, so I can remember pulling the AA map out over the front of the car, and
so you can read a map then.
it would completely cover the whole dashboard. Yeah, so that was quite funny. But yeah, I was thinking more the communication on the human level. And when we communicate interactively, we kind of pick up on data points, so we can see the facial expressions, we can see the tone in the voice. So I think the human mind is constantly picking up on these data points as we communicate in person. And since we've gone into like communicating on WhatsApp and over the internet, we haven't got them data points anymore. So I think it's really valuable that we have something like Reputation Builder. I don't know what other people think about that. That it at least gives us some kind of data points that we can grow a kind of view of who we're talking to, and something that we're kind of sadly lacking as we're communicating, just over the internet and stuff.
Does anyone else on the speaker panel I completely agree, Tika. Like the human brain completely wired to like other humans' facial expressions and stuff. I almost put I've realized that I put almost the same weight to an emoji as I do to a facial expression nowadays. Does anyone else find that? I certainly do.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, if I find someone who's just who's uses a winking smiley face at like an inopportune time, I actually find it very, very jarring. So yeah, it is interesting how our like digital communication has evolved. Yeah, I wonder how much value we'll put on these things when we have even more like digital interactions, when we have like virtual environments, augmented environments, all that kind of thing, and whether we'll still put the same value to these things. Maybe we'll put more value to the emoticon floating above someone's head than we do their actual facial expression. Who knows?
Yeah,
right.
I mean, it's funny. I am on a WhatsApp group, and we kind of get into some discussions sometimes. And there is one person on there, and you can tell that he's just going onto Google and he's Googling some stuff, and then he's just throwing it on, within the chat to make himself look kind of really knowledgeable,
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the GPT generation is real. I think some teachers who I know are finding that even on like introductory assignments and homeworks and that kind of thing, people are even GPTing that, the kind of stuff where they're like, just describe yourself. How do you feel about yourself? What are your goals in the future? They're GPTing that, and it's absolutely mad. I wish people would. I think like considering yourself and being a bit more self-reflective. It seems like that kind of mindset might be diminishing as we go into this kind of artificial age.
Definitely.
Right, we've got a couple more things from YouTube up here. We have. Oh yeah, we're not aiming for Skynet. We're not aiming for Skynet. Please don't get Skynet. No, we don't want that. Let's see. Chinese whispers is quite human behavior. No need for ChatGPT, Google, or whatever. We are biased. Yeah. No, I mean, I can't really argue with that, Marmil. I think we've always been predisposed to the kind of like Chinese whispers and that kind of behavior. It's just wildly accelerated. Firstly, when it's online, and then when it's augmented with AI. I mean that's an information superhighway without any breaks, and with stops at so many sources of information that it could be. It could go in as being, I think you're a nice person at the beginning, to a country at war at the end. That's the kind of dichotomy there, I suppose. What about on the speaker panel here? Do we think that it's an analogy that works, like Chinese whispers, compared to the current like digital age of AI? Maybe April. What do you reckon?
Oh, sorry, no idea.
No, it's fair enough. It's fair enough. No worries. I mean, it's a tricky one, to be honest. Maybe we'll just crack on with another couple of questions. I've got an interesting one, to be honest. But firstly, I would love to ask everyone if you could jump down bottom right-hand side of your screen if you're on a mobile. If you could go to the comment section, give us a like and a retweet on the space. Super helpful for us. We're trying to make sure that every single one of these spaces is educational, has value for you as a listener. So if you could share it, that would be absolutely awesome. Thank you. Right. I think actually we'll do the quest code. We'll do the quest code now, just so everyone's got that ready. Let's have a little look here. So your attendance code for this space is the word books. Capital B, books. BOOKS, books. So we'll say that again at the end, but for now, the attendance code is books. Right. So in contemporary times, I guess that we've seen that the truth of a statement is not always as relevant as its impact and influence. I think we've found that in American politics, in every politics. I shouldn't precurse that with American. That's just all politics. Most social arenas. It doesn't seem to matter whether a statement is truthful or not lately. Is opinion the new meta? Do we think that opinion is simply more valuable than fact nowadays? Does anyone have an opinion on that? Maybe Chris, maybe you've got something on that? Or April, if you've got yourself a speaker, I don't mind.
Yeah, I think everybody has an opinion. I don't think it's that valuable. I mean, if it's not supported by facts or knowledge or some maybe experience, No, I wouldn't say it's so valuable.
Well, I mean, it might not be valuable, but I mean, perceived value is what I'm talking about here. So, for example, I don't have an opinion on Donald Trump, but I'll use him as an example because he's a prolific example of this. You've got ostensibly he tells straight up lies in various contexts, live in front of his followers, in front of debates, and all politicians do this just for context. But just using Trump as an example. So all politicians lie straight up in front of their supporters. Now, the value of that lie is in its immediate effect. Even if there is a reputational hit, a perceived reputational hit from like a fact checker, or people coming in after the fact and calling him up on the lie, then it doesn't seem to impact its value to the people he cares about getting the message across to. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about.
Yeah, I get it now. Yeah, it's true. It's seems like the currency of today is attention, right? And attention is caught with strong emotions, usually with fear and anger. So this is what the algorithms prefer. So I don't know. Maybe AI could mitigate this somehow, but I don't know. The value that we put on top should be something attention. But in today's attention economy, I don't know how we override this.
It's really difficult. It's really difficult. We have a global information superhighway that doesn't respect borders. It doesn't care about almost anything. It's for what it is. It's extremely lightly regulated, and you just got when you got a message that can travel instantly, and you combine that with that concept that Marmil was talking about in the YouTube chat, like the Chinese whispers. It's just absolutely mad. Like the attention economy, like you say, it kind of completely overrides truth in a lot of ways. So I think like gaining back some kind of reputational value to a person's online presence is hugely important. That's a damn good reason why one of the reasons why we're building Galactica is for that reason. Yeah, it's a tricky one. Sorry, do you come off speaker? Apologies. Do you want to say something else, April?
No. I'm just listening. Yeah, I totally agree. It's a really big problem. Yeah, and hard to be tackled with. And also, this big opinion leaders and polls, they're not the totality of the solution. I think should be some other factors also. I don't know which ones, but yeah, media is. Let's say we didn't talk about media. It's this now we're going into a totally different direction, but it's also a big actor in the dissemination of truth and knowledge, but it's mostly not online. So yeah, media should have this kind of role of saying this is true, this is not. But I don't know, are we still trusting the media giants or?
Well, that's exactly it, isn't it? Like, we know that like 90% of media is hugely biased either one way or the other. Most people use like the left-right scale to determine people's political leanings and that kind of thing. There's other scales and there's other things to consider. But like, you can go to one news outlet, it will report on a subject. You go to another media outlet, it will report on the exact same subject, just changing words just so that it appears more favorable to the other side. It's everywhere. There's too many different sources of information saying too many things about the same subject. There's no consensus. There's no consensus. That's one of the beautiful things about blockchain that I love. It's immutable, and there's consensus. So that's something we should strive for in our human interactions, not just our financial ones. So I'm really looking forward to the day where we can grow up a little and bring our stuff on chain and hit stuff that way. Right. ITTCS, Screwloose, you both kind of sound like Brits to me, right? Yeah, you're both British. I'm just kind of curious about the British viewpoint.
Yeah. Unfortunately, at the moment, I am British. Yes.
Unfortunately, right. Okay. Hey, I mean, I won't even have a Brit have a go at my British roots. I love my country too much.
Yeah.
I love being British.
It's been a little bit tough lately, but we are fighters, aren't we?
Oh yeah. Teas and crumpets, anyone, we'll get through it.
Yeah.
But then,
so I was just curious, guys. Like, what's your opinion from the British side of things? From do you think media, for example, in England is moderately fair and unbiased? Do you think you can find unbiased information that works for you in the UK?
I think the media is just totally biased. I wouldn't. I don't even watch mainstream media anymore. I just wouldn't trust it as far as I could throw it. So I'm always looking for alternate media, and then obviously you've got to follow whoever you're following for a certain amount of time to actually gauge what kind of a place they're coming from. But I have good alternate media now.
And you trust them not to be unbiased, like your other sources?
Yes, definitely, because I mean, you know, you can't just be watching the media and then just take what they're saying, you know, for truth. You have to look at what resources. So I follow some economist, and he actually goes into the data, you know, and actually goes into the documents that are being released and the data, and then, you know, so he's just more presenting what he's finding than giving an opinion. I think the mainstream media now, like their opinion is always creeping into it now. It's not just a presentation of the facts. It's always, you know, tainted by their opinion, whether it's the left or the right or whatever, you know.
Yeah, no doubt. Oh, yeah, no doubt. I think it's impossible to find an unbiased source of information, but like, I think there's a massive onus on us as information consumers nowadays to actually make use of the vastly more efficient tools that we have for information gathering. We all kind of have to be our own journalist to an extent. I find myself, whenever I'm looking at, for example, like highly polarizing stuff, things from Ukraine or from Israel, Lebanon, when you're actually looking up this kind of information, you have to look up the official news sources from both sides of the aisle. So you kind of have like what are the extremes of this story, and then you have to go into like Telegram groups and you know, the kind of chats where you might find people who are actually on the ground in those situations, and try and learn a little bit of context from them. Again, massive amounts of bias from all of these sources, and then you kind of have to form your own view. Like, you have to trust your own view. And your ability to try and either average out this information, or apply whatever biases you have to the information and come up with your own view. I think I genuinely do think we are entering an age of opinion. I really do. Like, knowledge, like unbiased knowledge, is going to be such a scarce thing. It will be hugely valuable, in my opinion. Like, it will be like scarcity insights, not insights value. But I think for the most part, I think opinion will dominate. Like, I think influence, opinion, attention will all dominate our lives for the foreseeable future. So if you, I don't know, if you want to try and gain a balanced view of things, and try and have a kind of clear-headed view of whatever subjects that come up, and like in the next few years, it might be a good idea to try and take on that mindset of kind of like a citizen journalist, maybe. I don't know if you go that far, Tika, but that was just my thoughts there.
Yeah, no, I think truth is really valuable. I think the reason it's valuable is because we have to go out and we have to search for it. And I think the more that we have to search for it, the more valuable it becomes. I think it's really easy for some people, when you talk to people, some people in general, you're not really getting their truth. You know, they're just giving you somebody else's truth. And, you know, I think human beings can be, the nature of a human being can be generally lazy. So, you know, if you have to go out and you have to search for truth, you know, it's not an easy task, is it? You know, it's quite easier to just listen to something and then just take that truth on as your own, and then just repeat the truth out, you know, into what environment you're in. But I think truth is really valuable because we have to search for it, don't we?
That is the danger, for sure. I think maybe a lot of people are lazy in the way that they attack information. Or, you know, I shouldn't say lazy. Some people can be lazy. They can also lack bandwidth. You know, like, they just don't have enough bandwidth in their lives to be considering the wider world. And I think that's actually just as valid a way of living, to be honest. I think that's a very valid way of living. If you confine your view to the local, to the family, to the stuff that is close to you, and then maybe shut out the wider world to a large extent. It's a valid way of living, and I think I see that more and more in the world. You see countries, for example, becoming more insular and more closed. you see you see people becoming more divided. There's just more division in general, to be honest. But when there's more division, people close ranks. They move into family groups and the close friend groups, and all kind of information transfer only happens between those bubbles. I think we're seeing that more and more. Sorry, April, you're off speaker again. I don't know if you wanted to say something or if you were just off speaker. That's fine.
Oh no, I'm just thinking, and you made me think about the X-Files. You know, the truth is out there. It seems like it's getting harder and harder to reach it, and we're also forgetting that there are standards by which we search for truth, like scientific standards, also for like peer review or something. That I don't think there is unbiased information or knowledge. I don't think it's even possible. Every knowledge is coming from some kind of experience. We cannot go beyond that. So it's just more important to acknowledge that we're actually biased and say from which bias it comes. So, but yeah, I think the truth is out there in one way or another. So I don't know. Maybe I just switched now the lanes. I don't know.
Well, whose truth
I think it's,
is somewhere?
yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Also, I think that's why I find this cipher uni, if I may, very interesting, because it's basing exactly on this kind of knowledge, on this learning, should I say, more experiential learning, and community learning. So I think it's going to be really exciting.
Absolutely, yeah, I completely agree. I think verifiable and mutable credentials on the blockchain that are provably earned. I think that's going to be something that increases in value massively over time. I really do. Sorry, Tika, you had your mic off, and I think you attempted to speak. I didn't want to interrupt. Please go on.
Yeah, I was just going to say that as we go on, the information we're not even really getting access to information anymore, and information is becoming more limited and not available to us, especially by governments and stuff like that. So I don't know how that is going to move forward. With the blockchain and stuff, and I did have something else to say, but it's kind of lost in my mind.
No, it's okay, man. I kind of get you, and I think a lot of governments, this is the reason why governments have been coming up with CBDCs. I'll just say that straight up. There's the blockchain is very, very good and very, very efficient at ensuring truth. However, it's not very good at ensuring privacy in most cases. It's not very good at representing humans in most cases. So governments have to create these privatized blockchains. They have to create their own systems, which they have full control of in order for it to work for them, to have these immutable records and use the efficiencies of blockchain without the inefficiencies. The problem with that approach is that obviously everyone loses their rights. Everyone loses their freedoms. Whether implicit or explicit, you lose your freedoms under those situations, because if you are an identity within a government system of a CBDC nature, then they can just turn you off. I mean, if you do something that they don't like, they'll just turn you off as a digital presence, and that's it's really that simple. So this is why we need decentralization. We need genuine freedom. We need to make sure we maintain the rights and freedoms that we've created with blockchain, with maintain our ethos as Web3 as the Web3 industry. We need to make sure we maintain that ethos of freedom. Otherwise, all is lost. I won't be that dramatic. You know what? I won't be that dramatic. No one's that dramatic. But it's going to be a bad time. So This is one of the reasons why we are building our protocol. It's why many people are building other protocols in the same kind of vein. We think we're doing it better, by the way, just so you're aware. But genuine, verifiable people, identities, their reputation and credentials, all of it on chain, while not breaking up that ability to be free and known and represented. It's important. It's really, really important.
Just one more thing. How would you see censorship kind of running alongside that? The actual sharing of information and the truths that we find, and the limitation on the censorship of being able to share what we find. You
know what, Tika? I do apologize. You broke up at the very beginning of that for me. Can you just repeat the question? I do apologize.
Yes, I was just wondering what you think on the censorship side of it as well. So, it's hard enough to actually find the truths, but then how do you think that once we find the truths, then the actual sharing of them truths,
I got you.
With the censorship that's going on with it?
Well, this is another reason why we need open systems, systems that are user defined in a lot of ways, so people can define their own reputation functions, for example. I think it's highly unfair and irregular for some institution like a government or even worse, a corporation, something like that, to be the deciding factor in what constitutes a good person. For example, I think we all have our metrics, our criteria for what makes a good person. And I think we should all be able to essentially query a person, query an immutable free human on chain in order to determine whether they are good in our eyes based on our criteria. So that's something massively important. That's one of the reasons why we created the reputation root contract in Galactica, in fact. So yeah, I think that this is not like a be-all end-all solution. Far from it. I'm just saying that there's another good reason why we should have these things on free and decentralized blockchains. Welcome to the stage, Ruben. Welcome, man. Haven't seen you in a bit. It's good to have you on stage, bro. How's it going?
It's been a minute, huh?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What's up in your world, man?
It's funny you mention it. I've been thinking about this knowledge thing, and how it's the access barrier is shifting again, right? Like, I remember, waking up as a 6-year-old and going in front of my television, my CRT television, in the living room back in New Zealand, and I would have to wait for 30 minutes before the television started because New Zealand didn't have enough television at the time, so they just had like this color correction screen that they put on from 11 p.m. to 6 a.m. And then post internet, which I just caught the earliest part of, 38 now. Very quickly, the content was no longer king, because there's an infinite amount of content, right? And so, contextually, because the limiting factor becomes the individual attention, curation becomes king. And it appears as though we're about to go through a similar wave moving forward, post AI. And I suspect that we're going to see a wave of what, for lack of a better term, I've been calling agentic noise, right? So if you think about the kinds of people who stand to benefit from grabbing people's attention, whether that be people grabbing it on a social platform, or whether it's people who are advertising, so on and so forth, those same people can essentially go to GPT or Claude or someone and say, hey, I'd like you to scrape the last, 2 years of my posts. I want you to extrapolate, ad campaigns, and I want you to cross-post that on every platform in every format. I want you to create new YouTube videos for me based on my ads that I've been running on Facebook, et cetera, et cetera. Like, I really do think we're gonna see a wave of just noise, and the only thing that I can think of to combat it is agentic curation. That is self-sovereign, client-side agents that just ingest the internet on your behalf, create new dashboards that have nothing to do with the actual platform that they're pulling from, and make better versions for you, customized by you. Right? So you have the Twitter experience, but you're not actually using Twitter. You've just got a client-side agent that's scraping everything that's on Twitter, removing all the ads, removing all the BS, and then just giving you what you ask for. You know what I mean? But same thing with Facebook, same thing with everything else. And
That's
and if it happens,
concept. I like
it's gonna be interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure, man. I think that's kind of epic. I like the idea. I think. Well, I mean, it's like you end up with just a neutral, curated feed for just about everything, and obviously all that can be collated into a single feed even, and you have your day, like you might used to have read a newspaper in the morning. You might have remember those things, those big floppy things. Instead of reading a newspaper, you read your AI, your personal AI curated neutral feed of the internet every morning, and then you go about your day. That'd be a kind of a better human experience, I think, than what we've got right now. Yeah, super interesting, Ruben. I love it. Are you creating such a thing? I know you're a builder of sorts.
I've been noodling. I'm probably going to start with ads. Actually, I want to start with Google search. Google search seems like the pretty core sort of user experience. If you want to delineate like the first-party discovery experience from a third-party curation experience, well, you got to make the third-party curation a first-party curation, right? And so it feels like, I'm thinking the most useful thing that I could probably do is just take the concepts, outline it, and maybe like work on some of the primitives in terms of the protocol, and then release that and let other people sort of build their own stuff, drawing from the ideas. But I think in particular, having like DID or some equivalent thereof, for those unfamiliar, decentralized identifier. Although this room, that's probably not.
I really hope this room knows that. Yeah.
And then like using that as the auth for things like, hey, here are the things that I want to say on the internet. Here are the platforms I wish to say them on. I want these ones to be public. I want these ones to be private. Per variable, ZK, keygen hash stuff so that you can enforce that, right? Yeah, I think some of those primitives that could be adapted to a variety of environments seems like the more responsible way to, build in stewardship, as they say.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I think that's a really good way of approaching it. So like I say, I don't know if you were here earlier, Ruben, but like I think people are just hunting for sources of truth that they can trust without having to be a citizen journalist in their own right. And that's one of the goals that I personally have. Yeah, it's damn near impossible right now, to be honest. But it's one of the goals that I have for Galactica is building like a verification DAOs of verifiable and verifiably credentialed people or verifiably reputable people in certain fields, that kind of thing, who can act as the filter. It's just finding your truth. I would say it's just everyone. You got to find your truth somewhere, and right now it's damn difficult to do so without overloading your own brain or becoming a journalist yourself.
Not to take up too much airtime here, but have y'all thought of using reputational graphs in terms of like, okay, let's say that here's user X, and user X is a scientist, and user Y is a journalist, and user X with their DID releases a study that says, it looks like we didn't find marmosets on Jupiter, right? And then user Y comes out and says, I'm going to source user X saying that they couldn't find marmosets and say, there could be anything on Jupiter but marmosets, right? And so right now, the researcher, user X, can't really do much about it. But if each of them were committing to a repository where the auth was a part of that function, right? Then when user Y, the journalist, sort of referred to that original commitment, that researcher could go on to their initial repository and make a little note so that anybody who clicked through to it said, hey, I noticed that this is being, sourced by a bunch of these things. I'm not saying that there might be things that are not marmosets. I'm just saying there's definitely not marmosets. It feels like the common ledger thing is a useful element here, and usefully, having the DID allows people to build a reputational graph by virtue of associating the edit, but without necessarily having an opinion as to whether it's good or bad, right? Like that I feel is super subjective and could probably be relegated to the application layer, where some layers that are like, okay, well, you tell us what you like and what you don't like, and we'll tell you, we will rank the network, based on what you have told us is your relative signal for truth, etc. Right? And then presumably people can find their own schemas for how they might try to measure relative truth, and people can factor that in. But you're keeping it on the application layer as opposed to the bedrock of the ledger. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get you. Like essentially people building their own, not building, but informing their own algorithms. That's that would be ideal, I suppose. Jacques, welcome to the stage, man. Just got you up. Really nice to see you. How are you doing today?
Doing good. What's up, homies? I randomly dropped into this. I'm scrolling through. I don't think I really know anyone other than Ruben here. But I saw him pop up on my screen. I went, wonder what Ruben's up to and what smart people he might have encountered. And yes, straight up, right on point. I haven't caught enough of the conversation yet, but so far I'm tracking. And I'd like to jump in once I have a little more content. But yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm glad you're here. Really glad you're here, Jacques. Ruben pops by sometimes. He's one of those guys who just shows up, and you're just really appreciative when he does, because he always brings knowledge, and I love that.
Just one of the smartest dudes I know. Just damn it, Ruben, I have a hard time tracking you down, dude. Try to get you into my spaces. So we made friends with Pauly Shore, homie. Like, he's funny, and other people. And I've been trying to get you to show up, but you keep ghosting me, dude.
How you think I learn stuff, dude? I can't be learning out here in these spaces. I got to be deep in the seedy underbelly of something nerdy and boring. Y'all don't have time for the boring stuff, fam.
You just find him in the basement of a library somewhere. Yeah, no, that's pretty much that's the way to live, though, to be honest. So yeah, I mean, this all kind of pretty much tracks, Ruben, with what we're trying to do. The entire ethos and thesis of Galactica, what we're trying to build here with social graphs, reputational data points that allow you to essentially represent the totality of the human on chain without sacrificing their rights and freedoms, keeping the whole damn crypto ethos alive while still allowing people to interact with the real world. It's important stuff.
Language. Dude, we've been talking about this crap for a couple of years, a bunch of us on this platform. So I guess it's not by accident that I stumble in here, is it?
Hey,
would you mind giving me
job,
actually a recap of your whole plan? Because I only caught the tail end, and I'm over here grinning till I have face cramps. So keep going.
Yeah, sure,
like
man. So I can give you the elevator pitch at least. So what we're trying to do, we're layer 1 centralized blockchain, obviously, and we are essentially acting as an identity stack, reputation layer. Whatever the hell you want to call it, essentially the end goal being that we can represent the entirety of society on chain. We've done really, really, really well in blockchain and crypto.
Securely.
Yeah, securely, privately, keeping the freedoms, all the good stuff. But like I say, we've done as an industry, we've done amazingly with financial primitives. We've done great work with just having immutable transactions, freedom, genuine ownership, all the good stuff that we've done with financial primitives. But they're all very, very, very useful things for real humans too. So that's what we're aiming for, is to bring those the benefits and the efficiencies of blockchain to humanity itself.
Epic,
Yeah.
dude. This is aligning way too eerily right now. So I'm working with some other individuals at trying to. I was on the kick to try to start a makerspace, because the whole makerspace revolution thing over the last decade kind of died, petered off in the world because of the COVID lockdowns, mostly. Just killed most of them, dead on their face. So I just it's not by accident. I don't think anything is by accident anymore. So by circumstance, I kept running into other individuals whom are just as brilliant as I'm sure you are. You got a whole bunch of them reading your profiles. A bunch of you are fucking brilliant. So is Ruben. I'm trying to get the band together, basically, to start doing cross-platform, cross-continent mentorship along with programs like this. So we all team up, one big coexisting ecosphere, for the nerdiest of us, the misunderstood. I mean, I hate to sound this way, but I given up on the normies. I haven't completely given up on the normies, because the only way the normies can learn is the smartest of us have to lead by example. It's the only way they learn. We can't berate them. We can't belittle them. We can't dislike them. We just can't. We can't enable them. So I'm done concentrating on them. Now I'm trying to find the rest of us who can build a massive collaboration globally, homie. But the biggest problem that we have right now are quote unquote cheap fakes, deep fakes, AI creating an immersive environment that is indistinguishable from reality, that is going to mind fuck the masses. Excuse my French, but it's going to mind fuck the masses. I'm going to say it again. And I can see it coming like a freight train. So do you. So the rest of you guys. And we need to do this ASAP, like now. So if you need anything from me, sorry, I'm windy. I've been told since I was 2 to shut up. But I was an engineer at Microsoft. So, you do the math. I'm willing to donate, and Ruben and I have had these talks about time, okay? I'm willing to donate my time in a way toward others for projects that I see fit and being done for the right reasons with actual authenticity, because trust me, homie, I was a hacker when I was a teenager. If I see somebody and I like them, I'm going to look them up and see all the good things they've ever done in their life. And if I see somebody I don't like them, I'm going to look them up and I'm going to find all the bad things they've done in their life. So just be forewarned. That is me. That's who I'm baked in that way. But I'm looking for the good ones. So I hear genuinity, and I'm reading your profiles, and I see how much work you've put into this. So count me in if you ever need anything. I'm a lifelong IT guy, engineer, multifaceted. I also invent things from time to time. Ruben knows. But time is money. Our mind is money. But we also, most of us hate money because money is dirty. The thing that's not dirty is these encrypted transactions that we can do back and forth to each other. That's fun. We know how fun it is because we're all doing it. So we need to figure out that ecosystem even deeper and start finding a way to compensate each other for our time without quote unquote money. And I'm sure Ruben's giving you his elevator speech on. I'm sorry for not jumping in on that, Ruben. But Ruben had a brilliant idea, which I hope you're still running with, homie. And we need more of that. If you guys haven't heard his elevator speech on the time thing, then you need it, especially
Dude,
if he throws a comedic thing.
my presence has derailed this whole space. They don't have time for my pitch. I hear you, and I appreciate it. But
dude, if you want to pee yourself laughing, come on, Ruben, give him the funnier version. We need it. It's intelligent humor, but it tells a story through truth, and it works. Like Ruben's uses himself as the guinea pig, even though a couple years ago I'm like, hey dude, I'll jump in and do all this shit with you, and I didn't. So Apologies.
I for one
Well,
very much appreciate like real, honest people, just like you, Jacques, and just like you, Ruben. So if it has value to the people who are listening, I am
Huge value.
more than willing to listen to it. But if you don't want to give it, Ruben, that's fine too.
All right. I'm just wary of the
Be forewarned.
airtime distribution ratio. You know what I mean? Okay, so TLDR. Every year, if you work as a person, you might sell your time by the hour, or you might go take a salary somewhere and sell your time by the year. And if you're working for 40 hours per week, for 50 weeks per year, it's about 2,000 hours, right? Cool. So what if you took the 2,000 hours and you chopped them up into 2,000 pieces and you tokenized them? And now that they are a digital asset representing this real world thing, technically, depending on which scientist you believe, then you can do more stuff with them because they're digital now. And so you can do digital things with them. Like you can say, hey, I want to sell my time for a variable rate. And that variable rate is, if you want to book me inside of 24 hours, I'm going to double the price. Or actually, you know what? I got to this month over here is always pretty slow, so I'm gonna I'm gonna program a de facto 20% discount in that scenario. Or you know what? Here are my rates, but I'm going to give a 30% discount to registered 501c3 entities. Or I'm going to create an auction for my time, and it's going to be a regular auction, or it's going to be a reverse auction, or whatever it is that you want to do. The point is that by tokenization, through tokenization, you can pick some asset, right? That is, you can't make more time, and you can treat it. You just have it's better tools for stuff that we already have, right? Implementation is kind of an interesting one for this idea.
I'll just
Originally,
actually jump in, Ruben,
go ahead.
because that sounds freaking amazing for a start. And yes, I mostly agree with you on all points. But with the structure that Galactica's got in place, with the fact that you can essentially you can query an address. Essentially, you can query a verifiable human, a verifiable person who has the skills that you require for whatever the hell it is you require the skills for, without actually getting their name, without getting their information, without actually knowing exactly who they are. That would be a very, very enticing kind of offer for people to have a time marketplace in that way.
Well, you guys have the underlying primitives and proofs set up.
Yeah. The zero knowledge is all set up. Everything ZK is done. It's we've actually moved on to fully homomorphic encryption now. So it's all FHE stuff that we're working on.
Dude, that's
now.
heavy. Wait a minute. What exactly are you homomorphically encrypting, my friend? That's a lot of compute.
That is a lot of compute, but it's
Did you just
really
say homomorphic encryption?
I don't think I've ever got anyone so excited about me saying homomorphic encryption before. This is awesome.
You're talking nerdy to me now. Okay, I gotta shut up.
Yeah. No, it's all right. I'm not even the tech guy. Basically, for the homomorphic encryption stuff, we've got applications like computable medical data, which we can provide a marketplace for, which people just can't. You can essentially have or reputational data, so you can essentially put your personal data points into a pool, and then have companies bid on your data. So you never actually give up any of your data, you never give up any of your privacy, but you can sell your data to people, to big companies, which is verifiable data, which is voluntarily given data, which is highly valuable. The number of companies who want to know if you're a massive trader on Binance, for example. I've traded 100K or more on Binance. Yeah, I want to know you, but I don't need to know who you are. I just want to know you.
Dude, I do medical work for a doctor. I do IT. I'm a systems admin. Long story, after all the engineering companies and shit, I got burnt out, had a few mental breakdowns, and I work for an optometrist now as his IT guy, right? But I was just having this discussion with Dr. Ken like a month ago because he wants to get more up to speed now that I've updated all of his hardware from 15, 20-year-old IT stuff, right? They're all on
Standard, yeah,
Surfaces
yeah.
and have an actual server rack in the back room, which they've never had. So he was asking me all these pretty loaded questions, especially about data integrity, security, token exchanges. This guy's almost 80, and he's asking me questions about this shit, by the way. He's smart. He programmed their first practice management software himself back in the 80s. Really.
Impressive.
Wrote it in Unix. So, I mean, he's old guy now. But it just catches me off guard every once in a while. And the 79-year-old dude asks me an in-depth question like, we understand. I'm like, fuck, okay, hold on. To break out my books in my head. The point I'm getting to is this is necessary. So Dylan, I can never pronounce his last name. God damn it. He's an engineering buddy of mine that works for Unity. I can't really talk a lot about what he does because he can't talk about what he does. But if you really want to broach that subject and get some of the best on planet Earth, I can introduce you to Dylan and a couple of others at Microsoft. I might get in trouble, but I don't care. Wanna?
Hey,
I like bending the
I will
rules,
take
homie.
any connections to good people that I can get, regardless of what they know. If they know something, I want to know them. So.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we all need to help each other. I get face cramps over here from smiling. I'm supposed to be doing errands, and instead I'm sitting here sweating in my car on speakerphone, smiling until I'm fucking my cheeks hurt, dude. This just made my year. This conversation, this last 10 minutes.
Well, in that case, I'm a happy man for being able to host that conversation, allow you to get that
dude.
happy man.
Yeah, dude, if you need anything, I have no idea. If you saw the inside of my garage, your brain would fall out. I have so much tech and hardware and bucket of engineers, knowledge, experience. I mean, people bring me their shit to resolder it back together all the time since I was 9. I'm one of those guys. So you've got both my ears, man. And I'm curious. I only work with good people, man. And I am also one of those intuitive empaths. So I can feel you even through this stupid device. And some of you guys know how that works. I don't know. The rest of you might want to figure it out. It's handy. But I'm here with real people right now. And we need to collaborate, period.
I'd agree, man. I'll be hopping in your DMs if you're not in mine first, man.
Oh, yeah, dude. Phone number, email, all that shit. I'll give it to you.
I appreciate it, man. Ruben, you got your hand up, buddy, and then we're going to have to wind down the space at some point. Normally, we actually finish on the hour. We're half an hour over. I don't care. But Ruben, what's up, man? That interesting. Okay. Well, if you're
Oh, sorry. I've had.
It's okay, dude.
One of the walls that I hit that I ended up landing on ZK at the base layer for commits for this time thing was that I was interviewing a bunch of different kinds of workers, and I came across a family law attorney, and they were like, "Well, I understand that you might have to have this public ledger thing so that people can figure out if the plumber is going to be charging $40 for their plumber hour, but nobody can see whether or not any of their previous plumber hours have actually been plumbed, right? Then they could just be a scalawag or a ne'er-do-well, right? So I appreciate that you can have like a reputational ledger, like Upwork has, or Yelp or whatever. But I can't do that as a family law attorney. And the reason that I can't is because if I get a call from, there's a lot of adversarial stuff that goes on in law, right? I can't have people on the internet knowing who my old clients are. And so I can't sell my time using your time thing. However, if we could ZK proof down to the per variable level, right? You could disclose the things that you want, and you could obfuscate the things that you didn't want. They could still be verifiable by relevant DIDs, but it wouldn't be tied to personally identifiable information. So that's anything like that too. So attorney-client and also doctor-patient, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, 100%. And there's even more. Like if you go even super basic, you just go to like just the institutional involvement in DeFi, that kind of thing. People, the reason why people are not actually playing in the sandbox is because they don't have financial privacy. Even something that simple is something that's required and something that we're going to provide. So like it's privacy solves an awful lot of things. Being able to still prove yourself while you're private is fucking difficult. ZK is an excellent solution. FHE is an even more like all-encompassing kind of thing, which helps us handle data. So there's an awful lot to do and an awful lot going on, and we're nowhere near there yet, but we are getting there, and we're doing damn well. So there we are. Go on, Jacques. You can have the last word.
Cool. Well, I just want to mention that I actually have a business partner. Dr. Ken has become my business partner for the last 3 years. He's a good man. And he's willing to kind of sort of partially fund a few things. Not anything. He doesn't have a lot of money. He's not money bags, right? But the thing I wanted to throw out there is if we need to use a test base that's private, right, not a public test base, for say like office type scenarios, because since he is a medical office, HIPAA is very important. And I just had to read an entire HIPAA Bible on all the updates. It's insane.
Fun.
And he's willing to be a test bed or a guinea pig, and he's been telling me that for the last 2 years. So I just thought I'd throw that out there. It's an office full of people that could actually be guinea pigged on, as long as we don't do anything to interrupt business. We've got a test base right there.
Fantastic. That's going to be that would be handy for sure.
With the server
various
rack
contexts.
and and user workstations, all the crap we need to test on. Even over VPN.
Yeah, I mean, we've got various systems that would be very, very helpful to test with such a person. Okay, fantastic stuff, Shaq. Well, it's really, really nice to make your acquaintance. Ruben, thank you for coming up. It's always a pleasure to have you up on the stage, man. It really is. I love it when you just pop by. It's absolutely wonderful. April and Tika.
I'm going to send you some things as well. I've been noodling on this relative truth situation. I think I got some ideas.
I have no doubt you have some ideas, Ruben. Not at all. Let's do it, man. So thank you for coming, April and Tika, to the stage. We had Chris B on earlier. We've had various people throughout the space. I appreciate the space has gone on a bit longer, but I believe it had value. So it's no issue for me for it to overrun. We are Galactica. We are here to build something very special, something that helps bring society itself on-chain with citizens' freedoms and rights intact in an on-chain nation that we call the Cypher State. We come here every week just to discuss our protocol, to discuss crypto, Web3, the news, whatever value that we can provide to our listeners. We do this every week on a Wednesday. So if you can join us next time, that would be very much appreciated. If you decide to join our community on the Discord or the Telegram, we provide an AMA every Monday and Friday, varying between the two platforms, so everyone gets served. So you can join us pretty much any point throughout the week. You've got some way of contacting us and having a bit of a chinwag, trying to get some information out of us, or maybe providing us some feedback, some suggestions. We always appreciate that. So thank you very much for joining us, everyone. It is currently Wednesday. You have 2 more days of the week before you get to your weekend, so don't put the pens down. Keep on working. Have some fun. Try and enjoy yourself. And we will see you on the next show. Thank you very much for joining us, everyone, and I'll see you next week.